Here with his take on the collapse of Graham Platner, Victor Davis Hanson, Hoover Institution senior fellow. Victor, Platner says he's, of course, he's stepping aside. Axios is reporting that he told his staff that he won't do it officially until Monday, which is the deadline to replace him. Something up his sleeve, perhaps.
Yeah, he said the word suspend, and I don't know what that means, whether it was a gracious way to say quit, but I doubt it. He's got 4 or 5 days to tell the Democratic orthodoxy that if you don't listen to me, I might just not take my name off the ballot. I might just stay in, and then you'll have to have a write-in third Democrat or second Democrat. He still has cards to play. They keep forgetting that. And you're right. I mean, the left-wing voters of Maine spoke. He won 70% of the vote. All that stuff about him with the violent sex, there was an earlier incident, and the texting and the sort of sick social media groupings that he joined, the Totenkopf hit, that was all factored in, Lord, in the primaries. And the left wing of Maine said we would rather have him, a quasi-socialist, with all that baggage over anyone else. And the Democrats had no problem with that. Only two things changed the atmosphere. And the first was, of course, as you pointed out, he started to sink in the polls the more that this came out. And he went from about an 8 or 9 point lead, if it really existed, because Susan Collins always under polls, to dead even, and then below Susan Collins, and that alarmed them. And then they had known of this second accusation, and they know that she was a liberal, so they couldn't tag her as some crazy conservative, vindictive former girlfriend. And when she came out and her allegations were a little bit more concrete, or at least more egregious, then they decided he was a liability and he was going to lose, and they leaked it to, or they got Politico to see if they could get him out. But it's not that easy to get him out, because he's a very strange character, and he's a very nihilist character, and he's a very mean character, and if he thinks they have treated him badly, he might just want to embarrass them and have his name on the ballot as long as he can hurt them, and he can hurt them if he does that.
Victor, it's very cynical of me to think this way. However, if he were up 10 points in the polls on Monday, do you think we would have seen that story in Politico?
No, and if they took a poll, Laura, over the weekend, and he's 10 points ahead, I think a lot of them would feel like they did after Al Franken. Remember, they forced him out?
Oh, yeah.
Because of that picture. And then all of a sudden they thought, oh, what have we done? That was a minor. It really wasn't Me Too. Now we're going to lose this seat. And they regretted it. And so we better wait till Monday to see what actually happens. And, you mentioned what they did with Biden, but Biden was nominated by the back room. They got rid of all the primary candidates within 2 weeks when they were scared of the socialists, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg. And then, of course, they did the same thing with Swalwell. So they have a pretty good record of removing candidates. But this time, they've never dealt with a guy like Platner, who's a complete vindictive nihilist. And I think they're not out of the woods yet.
Now, maybe they should actually try, the Democrats, advancing policies that actually help the working people, instead of dabbling in all of this nonsense and obsessing on Trump. If they actually had a menu of ideas that have a track record of success in places like liberal utopia, California, that would probably be a better way to go. But they're just not going to do that. They're going to use the socialist energy for as long as they can until it gets really inconvenient for their rich donors. Then they're probably going to probably do something. But the timing of all of this was just a little too cute by half. Victor, final word.
You're quite right. If they did that and they went back to Bill Clinton platform or moderation, they wouldn't need Pete Buttigieg with a caterpillar hat and a puff vest, and they wouldn't need Tallarico, and they wouldn't need this oyster man saying, I'm just a plain old oyster man. All these wealthy upper class people that are masquerading as a white working class. They're desperate for a white working class hero because their agenda is elitist, and they want to disguise it and mask it with somebody like old Joe Biden from Scranton, who then was a waxen effigy and gave us the most radical 4 years and really 100 years. So that's the problem. You're right. Their message is too elitist, too far left, so they have to disguise it with fake working class.
Oh, I love this. Victor,
candidate.
I'm enjoying every minute of this. Okay, this is playing out exactly the way I had hoped, without any victims. We don't want there to be any victims of any violence, obviously, but just their own internal struggles. It's so predictable. Victor, thank you very much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.